One of the chapters, I have 11 chapters in the book I've just written about the Donbas conflict. And one of those chapters deals with human rights abuses and war crimes committed in the Donbas by Russian soldiers and by Russian proxies. I mean, let's describe the separatists as what they are. They're Russian proxies. They're not rebels or whatever, they're Russian proxies. And those crimes are heavily documented in various reports by Ukrainian NGOs, by human rights organizations in the West. So there's no shortage of materials to describe those human rights abuses and war crimes. Currently, there's something like over 30 Crimean Tatars and Ukrainians illegally imprisoned in Russia today. Plus the torture and human rights abuses that's taken place. The BBC just published a long report about slave labor camps in the Luhansk People's Republic, which include something in the region of 5,000 people working as slaves. They get terrible food, they work long 12-hour days, and what they produce is sold off for corruption by the separatist leaders, by the Russian proxy leaders. So the crimes are not difficult to find. On the Ukrainian side, yes, there have been some crimes committed by Ukrainian forces. I mean, let's be quite honest, but that's not surprising. I mean, US, British, and other forces, I think in Canadian, in Afghanistan and elsewhere, have also committed. This happens in war. But these are democratic countries. Ukraine's a democratic country, and people have been put in jail, including Ukrainian soldiers, for committing various crimes. There has been some accountability for those crimes that have been committed. But the crimes committed by the Russian forces and by Russian proxies have not been held to account. And those have included torture, false imprisonment, and executions of Ukrainian soldiers, including by this separatist commander Motorola, who himself was blown up over the weekend by allegedly Ukrainian partisans. Why is the Ukrainian diaspora not really doing, I don't really hear much about them doing something about this question? This is surprising. It's surprising as well because we have great allies now, and the whole world has a spotlight on Syria. Secretary of State Kerry, British Foreign Minister Boris Johnson, and others have actually said that Russia is committing war crimes in Syria by its bombing campaign, by its attacks on hospitals, on civilians, and on humanitarian convoys. So Russia, i.e. President Putin, has committed and is continuing to commit war crimes in eastern Ukraine and in the Crimea, and is doing the same in Syria. We therefore have natural allies in the Arab world, in the Sunni Arab world, that we could work with to get Russia into the International Criminal Court and get Putin put on trial. It's something worth pursuing. I don't see that happening at the moment. I don't see the World Congress of Ukrainians or other Ukrainian institutions going down that road, but we need to work in this direction. It's something that could be highly productive, and we have great allies in the Arab world and in the Sunni Arab world in particular, where this could work, and particularly now that Western foreign ministries are talking in terms of war crimes. There is one potential blockage here, and this is something that is in the hands of President Poroshenko. Ukraine, back in 2000, did sign with the so-called Rome Statute, which made Ukraine a member of the International Criminal Court. But the Ukrainian parliament has never ratified that. So Ukraine's in kind of limbo in its relationship to the ICC. When you talk to politicians in Kiev about this, they say, we're all in favor of it. The blockage is at the head of the government and the president. And the reason why they're preventing it going to parliament to be ratified is because they're afraid that war crimes issues could then rebound on them, that they, as Ukrainian leaders, could be held to account for alleged war crimes committed by Ukrainian forces. I think this is cowardice on the part of both former Prime Minister Yatsenyuk and Commander-in-Chief Poroshenko. I don't think they will be charged with any crimes because Ukrainian forces, have been held to account, and anyway, the number of cases against Ukrainian soldiers has been highly, we're talking about 95% on the Russian proxy side and maybe 5% on the Ukrainian side. And I don't think that either former Prime Minister Yatsenyuk or current President Poroshenko will ever be held to account for those. So they're being unnecessarily scared about having the document, the membership of the ICC, International Criminal Court, ratified by the Ukrainian Parliament. But you can't push forward with war crimes claims against Putin and Russia in the Crimea and Donbas unless you take that step, unless Ukraine becomes a full member as opposed to a partial member of the ICC. And this would be something which would probably work in Ukraine's favor, and it also would be an additional way of putting pressure on and taking Russia to court, in addition to Russia being taken to court to the European Court of Human Rights, and also Russia being taken to various international courts on economic issues by the fact that it's stolen billions of dollars of economic and financial assets in the Crimea from Ukraine. So all of this could be put together, and it's another way of Ukraine dealing with the consequences of Russia's invasion and crimes and annexation of Ukrainian territory. So I believe that we should be working in that direction. We should be looking for allies. We should be in Ottawa and in Washington having meetings with the Syrian opposition, with Arab leaders like Saudi Arabia and Jordan, which are supporting the Syrian opposition, with Turkey, and helping the Ukrainian government to forge alliances here with a view to taking Putin and Russia where it should be put, in the dock of the International Criminal Court. Putin is a war criminal, and it's time that we began working in that direction. Thank you.